Hey there, it is Jennifer, also known as the intentional mom and also the homeschooling mom of 9. So, daily schedules for families are something I know about. So, I created this resource and it has gone like wildfire. So, what I created was daily planning worksheets for the homeschooling mom and for the student, one for each. And I've gotten so many emails and messages of people saying, this is amazing. This is amazing. But can you please tell me what your daily schedule is like? Or can you please help me figure out a daily schedule that works? So that's what this video is all about. This video is showing you a suggested schedule for a family, which is very closely related to what my schedule, what my daily schedule is. It varies slightly just because I have so many kids. So I have a few things in mind that are a little bit different, but this is very much the same schedule that we have followed for the entire time that we have had all of these kids and everything going on at home and trying to coordinate it all, right? So there's a lot of variables that could be added in here, but what I wanted to give you was a basic time blocked schedule of the different time blocks that work really well to make up your day. Okay. So these are like blocks of time. You'll see what I mean in a minute, where we have a general, basically a time block as I define it. And I do have, if you have my Home CEO Life Planner, you will see there's a time block worksheet in there, and there's one that gives you an example of what a time block looks like and what a time block could be, and then a blank sheet for you to make your own. So this is what I'm talking about here, okay? So basically, as I defined it, a time block is just when you have a certain amount of time set aside, a block of time, so it has a beginning point, a beginning time, and an end time. And then there's like an overall theme or plan for that time, like it's outdoor time or it's meal time or it's bedtime routines, or you'll see what I mean in a minute. But that's what I mean by a time block, is it always has to have a beginning and an end. And the end time, I think, is what is so helpful, because it's something that I think a lot of times we just innately don't do. We always just say that at this time I want to do this and this time I want to do that. But because we've never really thought about the logistics of how long each time is going to take, and we haven't then shut down the previous activity at the right time so we can start the new activity or the new time block. And that's why time blocks really matter. And that's not to say that you're always going to get everything done in your time block, but it allows you to say, okay, this is the amount of time that I had allotted for this particular activity. And even though it's not finished, it's now time for me to move on to the next time block and what I have planned there. And then at the end of the day, when you're working through kind of reflecting on your day as part of your evening routine, if you've ever heard me talk about that, that's when you would look at those things that may not have gotten done in each of your time blocks, and you figure out how to work with that going forward, right? So that might be things that you want to reschedule into your day tomorrow or some other day, okay? So this is a very basic daily plan, time blocked out for you. And I hope that you find it helpful, okay? So as a mom, I find it essential to get up before your kids. And my suggestion is 90 minutes before your kids, okay? If you love sleep, if you value sleep, and if you don't get a lot of sleep, I hear you on all of those things. Although I'm not a sleep lover. I think I'm a sleep lover by nature, but I think I've learned to prefer not to sleep as long. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, the things I'm going to lay out to you are beneficial, and it's beneficial for you to have some time in the morning by yourself. So do everything in your power. And I have a lot of blog posts and things about how to, trick yourself and help yourself, not really trick yourself, but help yourself get up on time. But that time in the morning is so, so valuable. And if your kids get up at 4 a.m., I hear you. I used to have kids who did the same thing. There are ways to overcome that. There's ways to have them be entertained and safe and all of that. You're just going to have to get a little bit creative. And I realize that that's easier said than done. As a mom of 9, I know that that's easier said than done, but I do also know that it's possible for you to have an okay to wake time for your kids to get up. Okay. And so that way it buys you a certain amount of time that you need to get through your things, these things here that I'm suggesting. Okay. So your daily plan starts with getting up 90 minutes before your kids, whatever that might look like. Okay. I don't know what time your kids get up. I don't know what that would be, but back it up 90 minutes and get up at that time. Again, this is what has worked well in my life what has worked well with other women that I've mentored. Okay. So that 90 minutes, how are you going to spend it? 30 minutes doing exercise. Doesn't have to be rigorous, doesn't have to be anything major, but there are so many things you can do right in your own home that are exercise, especially with, online opportunities. It really, really helps you to start your day with some exercise. I've done it for a long time and I've not done it at times. And like for right now, during this quarantine period, it's been really hard for me because it's so cold outside. I'm used to going to the gym. It's been so cold outside. I'm just done with walking and running in the snow. I'm just over it. So I know what a difference it makes for me not to have that. And as much, I don't have it as regularly now because I just can't bring myself to go do that out in the 40-mile-an-hour winds and snow. I just can't. But 30 minutes of exercise, that's the first little bit of how to spend your 90 minutes before you have kids up time. The next thing would be 30 minutes for you. This is where you would work through what I teach as a morning routine. Okay, I talk about morning routines in a lot of my courses. I talk about morning routines. If you have the Home CEO Life Planner, I've got a morning routine in there, a suggested morning routine of what my morning routine looks like. A morning routine is just the same things that you work through for 30 minutes every day. Could be, usually I suggest something like, reading something or doing something that I enjoy reading, doing something that you enjoy, doing some sort of planning for your day so that you can look ahead. That would be when you would fill out that homeschool mom worksheet, right? That might be a really good time for you to get started on that, but just an overall plan of your day. Also doing something to give you a little jump start on something that you need to get done around the house, something that forces you to be active right away. Another thing that should be part of your morning routine is drinking a cold glass of water. It really helps just kind of snap you out of the tiredness. Getting dressed is a really good thing. Again, it kind of helps you snap out of being tired. But 30 minutes for you for your morning routine, that's another part of that 90 minutes. And then the last part is 30 minutes spent on household tasks. And what that helps is if you have kids that are like mine and they get up and all of a sudden the stuff starts flying everywhere, they're coming into the kitchen, there's cereal and waffles and whatever else just flying all over your kitchen. I mean, it's just like right from the beginning, your house kind of feels like a war zone. And so it's really helpful to just kind of at least it's not so much the practicality of it as it is your own sense of peace. While you are working on some household tasks, whether it's picking up from the night before or putting dishes away, unloading the dishwasher, starting some laundry, putting some laundry away, whatever it might be, giving you that 30 minutes of your house, just putting your touch points on it to make it feel happy to you, just helps you no matter what war zone happens to your house later in the day. You've at least had those 30 minutes to be able to make your home be what you want it to be before other people start messing it up, right? So your 90-minute time block is 30 minutes exercise, 30 minutes for a morning routine, and 30 minutes to start on some housework that makes you feel good. I can't tell you how good it makes me feel in the morning my kids have responsibilities in the kitchen and the pantry and all that. They're cleaning up dinner, they're cleaning up all that stuff. But their standards are usually slightly different than mine. So it makes me feel good to just go in there, give everything a good, make sure everything's wiped down well, wipe off the, microwave handle, refrigerator handles, just all of those things that usually are left out by other people. But it just makes me feel good to start my day with a clean kitchen, for instance. It makes me feel good to start my day by taking a load of laundry that I started the night before and putting it into the dryer. Those are things that just make me feel good about my house. They make my house feel calm and peaceful to me so that the whole rest of the day when it's getting messed up by everybody else, at least I had that time. Okay. All right. Then your kids are going to get up, right? After that 90 minutes, your kids are going to get up. So then your next time block is the breakfast time block. And that for most people would be an hour. I think that's enough time to prep it, to eat it, and to clean it up. But also part of your breakfast hour, I would argue, should be getting started on dinner. It is so much easier to make dinner, get parts of dinner ready, even get it, totally ready where all you're doing is putting it in the oven or you're putting it in the crock pot or whatever it might be. Starting your dinner prep in the morning and making as much of it as possible is much easier to do while you're in the kitchen with breakfast already. Your energy is fresh. Your kids are fresh. It's just much easier. So that in my recommendation, according to my daily plan, your breakfast 1 hour time block should also include starting dinner Okay. Then after that, you have a 30-minute time block for individual time. This is where everybody kind of has their time to do whatever they need to do. They might be finishing up their morning responsibilities or chores. They might be sitting down and reading a book. They might be getting their schoolwork together that they have to work on. They might be brushing their teeth and doing all that kind of stuff. So it's just, you might be finishing up some tasks. You might be finishing up the making of dinner. The cleanup might have taken a little bit longer. It's just kind of a catch-all. That 30 minutes is just kind of a catch-up time, if you want to look at it that way. But it's time where people are just kind of doing their own thing, okay? All right, the next time block is a 2-hour time block, and I call this a family activity time. It's not to just say that you're doing an activity together, but this is, the key to this is to assign each person to something that they're supposed to be doing during this 2-hour time. So it's probably going to be, if you're doing school at home, it's probably going to be where kids are starting on school. It's probably going to be in your younger kids. If you have younger kids, you're going to want to get them with something that they're working on. You want to give them some puzzles to do, or some Legos to play with, or some gears to play with, or a game to play together, or something like that. It needs to just not be, here, go do your own thing. That's the difference between this family activity time and individual time. Individual time, you're kind of do your own thing, make sure your kids are safe, but you're not really telling them what to do during that time. Whereas this is a time where you're giving everybody something specific to do. And if you're doing school with kids at home, this is going to be where you are teaching your kids school or doing whatever you need to do on that front. Okay. So everybody's kind of doing their own thing, but they're doing their own assigned task for this block of time, if that makes sense. Do not leave your kids up to their own devices. It might also be that you are working on a home project together, right? You might say, some of your older kids might be doing school, and you might take your younger kid or whatever and say, we're going to go fold this laundry, or, it's not to say that everybody has to do the same task for the whole time, but everybody has defined things that they should be doing during this time. And if you're doing school at home, this is probably going to be what you're doing, okay? After that 2-hour time block, you get a 20-minute break. Everybody gets a break. It's great if you call this recess if you're doing school. It's just great. Kids know what recess means. Have them go outside, have them be inside, do some physical activity. I've got other videos where I talked about how to school at home, where I talked about that. But it's a 20-minute break. After the 20-minute break is a 10-minute tidy. This is where you're just trying to deal with some of the war zone, right? You probably had kids, with this out and that out, and you're not going to get everything totally cleaned up in 10 minutes, but you're doing a tidy where it's at least more manageable and less chaotic. Okay. So you spend 10 minutes doing that. The next time block is a 1-hour lunch time block. Again, this is prep, eat, and cleanup of lunch. For most families, they can get this done in an hour. After that, you've got a 20-minute time block for a quiet activity, right? We want to kind of reel it back in, right? It's going to be where we start going into our afternoon individual work time. And so this is a quiet time. So you're going to want to have everybody kind of adjust to this quiet time. So it's up to you what you want to do during that time. It could be a time where you do something as a family. Like this is often where we'll sit and listen to an audiobook together, or I'll read something together. One of my other kids will read to us. You might just sit and talk about something, or just kind of whatever. But the point is, everybody's not bouncing off the walls and you're not outside running around, right? Because the next time block that comes is another 2-hour time block. And this is a quiet time block where you've got individual work going on. So you're going to have, if you've got school age kids, you're going to have them doing their school. If you've got younger kids, this is a nap time or a quiet time. If your kids aren't old enough to actually sleep, they still need this 2-hour time block to just kind of quiet themselves down and do their own individual activity in their own quiet space, in their own way, in their own separateness, right? That's one of the challenges to all being at home right now and doing school at home, is everybody's together all the time. So this is that time where you really need people to be separate. And that's not to say that you can't be helping some of your kids with school if needed, but for the most part, this is individual quiet work time where you're going to be doing some teaching or some housework. You're going to have the littles doing nap or quiet time. You're going to have some others maybe doing some in-between kids who maybe have finished their school, but they're doing another quiet activity like reading or a puzzle or something like that. And you're going to have some kids doing school. Okay. After that 2-hour time block, they've got free time. So think about this. So in terms of what time of the day is it even now, right? I've run through this whole schedule. This is typically going to be about the time where everybody would normally kind of be coming home from school. So you're going to kind of think about what would you normally do during that time? And that's kind of what you're doing, right? So this free time is a whole hour and a half long. Okay. So you're going to have people doing various things. You're still going to probably have some kids doing schoolwork. Maybe you're going to be having some kids have a snack. Maybe you're going to be finishing up dinner, putting it in the oven the rest of the way, or, finishing whatever didn't get done. Maybe you're going to be having kids, finish cleaning up their room. Maybe you're going to have, it's kind of a hodgepodge thing. Maybe you're going to have kids go outside. It's just kind of what would they normally do during that time after school. And it's probably going to look somewhat the same. That's probably going to be what you're going to want to kind of do here. And so after that hour and a half, it's really important to do this tidy for 30 minutes. We have a home tidy for 30 minutes then. And again, you're just trying to get all the school papers and school books and all that stuff out of the main living areas where it probably all has been. Finish cleaning up the toys, finish cleaning up the whatever, get all your stuff out of here, get your socks off the kitchen counter. Maybe it's just me who says that. But you're doing a decent, you've got 30 minutes, so you can make a pretty good dent in trying to bring your house back together and clean up the absolute, chaos that happens. So that happens for 30 minutes. After that, you've got your dinner hour, right? Because you've pretty much made your dinner before. So you've got the finished prep, then you've got the eating time, then you've got the cleanup. So our dinner hour really is done in an hour because it's not me standing there having to make the whole meal then, okay? After that, you've got your evening cleanup for a whole hour. And this is putting the finishing touches on everything that needs to get done in the home. There's nothing worse than carrying the war zone from day after day after day after day and into the next day and into the next day. Everybody thinks better. Everyone behaves better if there is some sense of order. And this is your time to bring a sense of order back to it. So after your 1 hour of dinner, you've got 1 hour of cleanup time. And this is where you're putting all those things away that maybe you stashed in the quicker tidies, right? You just, threw the books in the corner to get them out of the way. You just, didn't put the Legos where they go, but they were picked up and out of the way. This is the time where you're going to do all of that stuff. Okay. Then after the 1 hour evening cleanup, I suggest a 30-minute family time. This is where your family's actually doing something together. We love to do read alouds. Sometimes we listen to an audiobook. Sometimes we might skip it right now, but we'll come back at 8:00 if one of our favorite TV shows is on. Like we watch 2 shows together as a family every week when they're on. One of them's The Masked Singer and the other one is The Voice. Those are just 2 shows that we all enjoy and we all sit and watch. So that might vary, that we might be doing that. But for the most part, we're reading, doing our family time for 30 minutes during this time. Okay. After that 30 minutes, then we switch into the evening routines. So this is going to be, again, vary by the ages of kids and the people you have in your home. So it might be that you're working through bedtime routines with some kids and they're going to bed. It might be that some of your other kids have free time. It might be that some of your other kids are still finishing up schoolwork. It might be that some of your other kids are finishing up responsibilities, like what you might think of as chores. We call them responsibilities. They're finishing up some of those. You're tying up loose ends. They're tying up loose ends. This is kind of what this whole evening routine time is. And then after that, after that is done, and it's hard to say how long that would take. This is kind of where in my family, because I have some kids who are older, I'm not starting, the last time block I have is your evening routine, which should be 30 minutes. I teach about that a lot in my courses, and the evening routine template is in my Home CEO planner if you have that. So the amount of time that you spend with this kind of evening routine time as a family is going to vary because it depends on the ages of your kids and the requirements of everybody. But at the end of all of that is your 30-minute evening routine. And then you're going to bed after that. So it sounds like kind of a lot. I'm going to print this up and I'll attach it when I have it here. But it really is just a series of basic time blocks. You've got your 90 minutes in the morning before your kids get up. Then you've got breakfast. Then you've got individual time. Then you've got family activity time where school starts and all that. Then you've got a break and a tidy and lunch. Then you've got your quiet activity for a short time. Then you've got your afternoon time block where really the bulk of the work is getting done, the bulk of the schoolwork, the bulk of the, other things. And then you've got your free time where everybody can just kind of have some fun and again, wrap up some things they haven't finished maybe. Then you've got your tidy where you're just, again, trying to tidy everything before dinner. Then you've got your dinner time. Then you've got your after dinner time. And then you've got your evening routine times, right? It sounds like a lot. I've talked a lot. I've said a lot of things, but it's not as complicated as it may sound. And I will type this up and I will attach it when I do that. Okay. So it really is just time blocks. I hope in working through this, I've demonstrated what a time block is and that it always has a start and end time and how long it's going to be. And the key takeaway is that everybody who is home needs to have a specific thing that they are doing during that time. Because if everybody doesn't have that, that's where nothing seems to get done. And people are kind of just left wandering around. And then it gets to the end of the day and everybody's realized all the things that they didn't get done. And now it's a mad rush to try to get it done. And everybody's frustrated. If you plan your day in this way, and the planning worksheets that I made for school at home that I'll attach here with this video really help you do that as well. So the key takeaways is that every time block needs to have a specific amount of time and a specific start and stop time, but also specific activities in there that will likely vary by person. But that's a way to make sure that everybody gets done the things that they need to get done every day. Okay. So hopefully that helps with what a daily kind of schedule and routine would look like for a family. I will link the information I get up here once I get this up and printed out for you guys. And it really doesn't have to be. The main thing of having a family schedule is just that everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing when they're supposed to be doing it. Not that everything is regimented and, there's a lot of freedom within there. Like, what did you want to do during your free time activity? What did you want to do during your individual time activity? But, your kids can certainly be part of that. But the point is that it's not just leave it up to the kid and everybody just kind of does their own thing. It helps when everybody kind of knows what's going on and everybody is doing similar things at the same time. That is also helpful. Okay. So hopefully that helps. A daily schedule is so helpful. All right. See you later.